Well, moving on to our debating focus, at a time when the government has made it mandatory to link PAN card with Aadhaar, the Law Commission has made another recommendation for compulsory registration of marriage details with a unique identification number. The suggestion reportedly aims to keep a check on child marriages, bigamy and gender violence in the society. But the suggestion to link Aadhaar with wedding registrations has sparked a controversy. Apurva Sridhar filed this report.
After recommendations of making marriage registration compulsory within 30 days of the wedding ceremony, with no exception given to any religious community, the Law Commission has now suggested linking marriage registration with the Aadhaar number to check fraudulent marriages. In fact, the commission, which was headed by retired Supreme Court Judge Justice B.S. Chauhan, has sent a report to Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad and has noted that linking of Aadhaar number with marriage registration would make it possible to have a universal tracing of records. In New Delhi, this is Apurva Sridhar for Mirror Now.
And joining me on the broadcast is Abha Singh on the phone line. What do you make out of this? What is your first reaction? Do you think that this can solve, this linking Aadhaar with marriage registration can solve the issue of fraudulent marriages, Abha?
Registering marriages would be a good decision if the government enacts a law, because this would check the way women are deserted, or they have custody battles, or they don't get maintenance, or when unscrupulous husbands, this was the word which was used by the Supreme Court bench of Justice Pasayat, that unscrupulous husbands who desert their wives or who marry a couple of times. So at least the registration of marriage to that extent would be able to protect the rights of women and ensure that they are not exploited. But linking it with Aadhaar would have privacy issues, because your sensitive data would be public, and of late it is seen that so much of Aadhaar records have been leaked. So somewhere it would have a security threat to many, and the privacy rights would be invaded.
Right, Abhay, you're talking about privacy issues. Can you expand a bit on that? What kind of privacy issues can people face when it comes to linking their marriage registration with the Aadhaar card?
Like as earlier it was done that Aadhaar would be linked to PAN card, and there people found that their tax returns and all sensitive information was coming in the social domain, and which can lead to blackmailing and exploitation. Here I feel if it is linked to Aadhaar, if it is protected properly, not allowed to misuse, then it will not create a problem. But if it is leaked, if your marriage details are leaked, as everybody knows that these are mass records, and India, at least in India till now, we've not been able to give adequate safety and security to this data. So if it is leaked out, then definitely in marriages which are inter-religion, or where honor killings, you have people marrying in the same community, it could compromise the security of such marriages and couples.
Right, and joining on the broadcast is also Sujay Kantawala. He is an advocate. Your first reaction to this, do you think that this is a good idea?
Yes, of course, I welcome this idea. And considering the situation and the environment that we are living in, I don't see any harm in this.
Right, Mr. Sujay Kantawala. Just before you, Ms. Abha was telling us that there could be privacy issues. What do you think about that? You're saying it's a good idea. It's good to link.
Where is the question of any privacy being violated in this case? If you have to register your marriage, and if registration of marriage is deemed to be compulsory under the Act, if you don't register a marriage, there is a penalty. Marriages are held in the open. It's an open affair. The whole world is invited for your marriage. Where is the question of privacy? And linking it to the Aadhaar is a healthy exercise. If somebody wants to lead an honest life and be properly documented, because we have got many cases where women are cheated by other persons. They just hold sham marriages and they cheat women, misuse that portion, and are not accountable. If you register the marriage, which is made compulsory, then there is an accountability attached to that. Women will not be cheated. And if you link it to the Aadhaar card, there will be more sanctity. There will be the people are easily traceable, identifiable. I absolutely do not feel that there are any privacy issues. I welcome this step by the government. We are heading towards a more accountable society where people, and we have got so many illegal aliens living in this country. We don't want them to misuse any of these provisions. So I welcome this step.
Mr. Kantawala, what I want to know from you is that will this linkage, is the Law Commission proposing this linkage for everybody across all religions? Okay, I think we have lost Mr. Sujoy there. We are on the story where the Law Commission has recommended linking of the marriage registration. Oh, I think Mr. Sujoy is back with us. Mr. Sujoy, what I was asking you was that will this be applicable for all marriages in India?
Yes.
All religions?
Yes, why not? Every marriage that is solemnized in India, where it is mandatory for the spouse to register the marriage, it is applicable to all the religions. There is absolutely no problem. I know of so many couples of different communities. They register the marriage. What is wrong with that? I don't see any privacy laws. Look, misuse, if it is going to be done, it is going. You cannot help it. But see the larger interest of the society. See the larger national interest in this. You are having a whole database. You are having, why in other countries, you have other countries where everything is linked to a social security number. You are easily identifiable. So I completely welcome this step. I don't see why this big hoo-ha cry is being made about it. It is a very welcome and progressive step by the government.
Right. Mr. Sujoy, I'm sure our viewers right now who are watching the broadcast would like to know that in case they have not registered their marriage, what can be done about this? If, let's say, I have not registered my marriage.
Small penalty and register it. It's very simple. There is a small penalty, very minimum penalty which is prescribed under the Act. Register your marriage.
Right.
At no time, if you have not registered till today, it's a technical issue. You can pay the penalty and even register it today. Nothing wrong with that.
Also, Mr. Sujoy, what penalty do people have to pay in case they don't register their marriage and they link it to the Aadhaar card? What penalty can the government?
If you don't register within 3 months, it is 100 rupees or something. I have to check up the exact figure as on date. And if you register beyond a certain period, then it is about 500 rupees. It's not going beyond that.
Could you also give some insight in case this comes into being, this recommendation from the Law Commission? What kind of punishment can the citizens of India expect if they don't follow these rules?
There is no punishment which is there. It's just a small fiscal amount of fee that you have to pay if you register your marriage late. It's not a crime not to register your offense. Please note this fact.
Right.
It's not a crime not to register your offense.
Right, right.
It is obligatory under the law, and it is in interest of all that you register the marriage because a lot of women have been cheated. See, the Law Commission in its recommendations has been conscious of the fact that a lot of women in this country are cheated. Foreigners come here, they get married to them, have fake sham marriages, साथ फेरे ले लिए around the holy fire and बस हमारा marriage हो गया. That doesn't work. Every citizen's right has to be protected, especially women in this country. And I see this as a very positive step towards women empowerment and women's safety in this country.
Right, Mr. Kantawala, thank you for joining us on this broadcast. So right now, as the story stands so far, is that the Law Commission has made a recommendation, that's the important word, their recommendation that you might need to link your marriage registration with your Aadhaar card. And the suggestion has been made to keep a check on child marriages, bigamy and gender violence in the society. As a matter of fact, in its reports, the Law Commission has said that in the absence of compulsory registration, women are duped into marrying without performance of the conditions of a valid marriage. This deprives women of societal recognition and legal security. Such fraudulent marriages are especially on rise among non-resident Indians. So this is a recommendation which has come in, and that's what we are tracking right now on Mirror Now.